Thank you very much, Chair Luke. Members, the next question deals with a few issues: dengue fever, rat lungworm, and other funding needs. So I am going to, again, go verbatim. There are several health issues which are not receiving the attention needed to really address them: dengue fever, rat lungworm disease, fetal alcohol syndrome disorders, and geothermal hydraulic fracturing and injection. The Hawaii Department of Health appears underfunded and understaffed to address some of the problems. Can the legislature please provide adequate funding to the Department of Health, order it to do its job properly, and if will not do the job for whatever reason, notify the CDC and NSF that funding should be released to workers outside Department of Health. Representative San Buenaventura, would you like to take that question?
One of my supporters is Steve Jack here, right here, who is the rat lungworm specialist. And so I work closely with him to let me know what kind of funding is needed for the rat lungworm type of research. I think the biggest problem we have with that would probably go towards the invasive species, right? Because if we can control the whole invasive species problem, then we could probably get rid of the rat lungworm problem as well as the dengue fever, among other things. So I know yesterday, I think, our representative, federal representative Tulsi Gabbard, along with the Republicans, put in a federal funding for invasive species. I know in our CIPs out there, we've got a number of funding for separate types of invasive species type of control. But as far as what the Department of Health does, I got talked to them. As you folks know, they right now have their hands full with the guidelines for the medical marijuana dispensary that they have to come up with real soon. Okay, so we will probably have to let them deal with that first before I get them to tackle with all these other issues. The whole geothermal, we do need to deal with it. Okay, we do need to deal with it, and I will talk to the Department of Health regarding these issues.
Okay, so one of the things that the legislature did last year is put in $4.7 million into the budget for invasive species alone. A lot of that money goes to the counties. The counties, the Big Island County gets a chunk, and then Maui, Molokai, Lanai, and Oahu, each county has their own invasive species council. One of the things that the administration is thinking of doing is, a lot of times what happened in the fire ant, you folks get the brunt of most of the invasive species problem. And so, the koki started here, and now they migrated to Oahu. Thank you. Thank you for sharing your pain. And then, so now you have dengue fever, and then you have the fire ants. The fire ants actually started here. We're proud to say we had the, coconut rhino beetles. So hopefully, that doesn't go too many places either. But the fire ant, what had happened in the fire ant situation was that there was lack of communication between Department of Agriculture and Department of Land and Natural Resources, which deal with invasive species. So one of the things we've been telling the departments to do is there needs to be like a comprehensive plan where you have one board that deals with what's going on in the counties, what's going on between the departments so that they communicate. You think it would be easy to do, but a lot of times it's so difficult to do. So one of the things we want to do for invasive species is we have to make it a priority, bring all the stakeholders together, the counties and the state, so that this body will answer to it. The good thing about the Hawaii Big Island Invasive Species Council is that they have a chunk of lump sum money, and it's up to the Big Island community. And again, it should be local-driven decision. So if the snail, what was the snail issue? African snail. So see, so that's kind of the.
Got an invasive species committee. Our funds are very specific. We put in exactly what work we're going to do, and none of that is epidemiology. That is a specialty of the Department of Health. When it comes to human health and disease, that is far above my pay grade. We do things like control acacia trees, help communities with little fire ants, and go after early detection plant species that harm our native forests. We don't do smell control. It's above our pay grade. We do not do dengue control. It's above our pay grade. Those, you want the top researchers in the state, if not the country, the world, working on these issues. We're a bunch of botanists and wildlife biologists. So we don't have a chunk of funds that we get to decide what we're going to do with. And the $4.7 million you talked about is part of a competitive grants program. That goes out to the entire state, and people compete for those funds. And
Right.
they're very
How much?
competitive.
Okay, I hate to interrupt you, but